You know that feeling. You walk into a grocery store, you have the absolute best intentions.
Oh, yeah.
You've got your reusable bags, you've got a meal plan, you are going to be a model of wellness. And then you hit the center aisles.
Gauntlet. That is where good intentions go to die.
Exactly. You pick up, say, a box of crackers, you flip it over to check the label, and suddenly it's like you need a PhD in organic chemistry just to figure out what's for lunch.
It really is. And, honestly, it's kind of designed that way. It's what we call the transparency paradox.
Okay.
There's more information on the package than ever, but somehow we understand less about what we're actually eating.
Right. Because information isn't the same as understanding. It's like handing me a car manual in a language I don't speak. You gave me the info, but you didn't help me.
Precisely. And that's really why we're here. Our mission for this deep dive is to hand you a decoder ring. We want to take the confusion out of the cart.
And to do that, we've been digging into a really comprehensive guide. It's called Unmasking GMOs and Hidden Toxins, Mastering Food Label Reading by Loran Fabian from Ingredientsage.
It's fantastic. And what I love about Fabian's work is that it doesn't just list things.
Yeah.
It explains why they're there. What are they doing to the food? And ultimately, what are they doing to your body?
So we're going to break this all down into 3 big buckets today.
Yeah.
We'll start with the heavy hitter, the whole genetic engineering debate.
Yep.
Then we're moving to what you might call the fluff, the stuff that isn't exactly toxic, but it isn't really food either. And finally, we'll look at the sneaky devils, the hidden chemicals.
And definitely stick around, because we're going to wrap it all up with a real-time simulation. We'll walk you through the aisle so you know exactly what to look for next time you go shopping.
All right, let's do it. Let's unpack this. We have to start with the big one, the acronym everyone uses, but I'm not sure everyone can really explain. GMOs.
Genetically modified organisms.
Right. But let's go deeper than just the definition. I think most people picture a scientist in a lab coat with a glowing green syringe sticking it into a tomato. What's actually happening?
Well, it's a lot more precise than that, and frankly kind of fascinating. We're talking about gene splicing.
Okay.
So scientists can take a specific gene from one organism, could be a bacteria, another plant, whatever, that has a trait they want, like resistance to cold or a certain pest.
And they just put it in the other plant's DNA.
They splice it directly into the DNA of a crop, like corn or soy. Yeah.
So this isn't just selective breeding. This isn't Farmer John picking the biggest pumpkin seeds for next year.
No, that's a key difference. Selective breeding stays within the same species. You breed corn with corn. GMO tech lets you cross species barriers. You can take a gene from a soil bacterium and put it right into a corn stalk.
Okay, so why do it? The source material makes it clear there's a logic here. It's not just for the sake of it.
Right. It's primarily about yield and survival. The 2 most common traits you'll find are BT, that's where the plant makes its own pesticide to kill bugs.
Wow, okay.
And Roundup Ready, which means the plant can survive being sprayed with glyphosate, which is a really powerful weed killer.
So on one hand, you get crops that can survive harsh conditions, which in theory means more food for everyone. That's the argument for it.
Exactly. Proponents will say it reduces the need for certain types of spraying because the plant handles the bugs itself, and it helps farmers not lose their entire crop to a blight.
But then that brings us to the labeling, which is where it gets really tricky for us, the shoppers, because I look at a label, but I never see a big stamp that just says GMO.
You probably won't, no. The laws have shifted in a lot of places. You need to look for the term bioengineered.
Bioengineered. That sounds surprisingly clean, almost high-tech.
It is very sterile. And the logo they use, it's often this nice little green circle with a sun and a leaf. If you didn't know what you were looking for, you might think it's some kind of eco-friendly thing.
That is some clever branding. But here's the thing that caught me in the research. Just because a package doesn't have a non-GMO label, that doesn't automatically mean it is a GMO, right?
Correct. The non-GMO project verified butterfly logo. That's the gold standard. If you see that, you know a third party has checked it out.
But if you don't see it?
If you don't see it, and you're looking at a product with corn, soy, canola, or sugar beets, there's a very, very high statistical probability that it's bioengineered.
Okay, so we know how to spot it. Now for the million-dollar question. Is it dangerous? The source material seemed to walk a pretty fine line here.
It's a nuanced debate, for sure. And to be fair to the science, there's no conclusive evidence that just eating modified DNA is going to hurt you. I mean, you eat DNA every time you eat a salad. Your stomach just breaks it down.
So the fear isn't that I'm going to sprout a third ear because I ate some GMO corn.
Highly unlikely, yeah. The concern, and this is where the critics have a really strong point, is less about the gene itself and more about the farming practices it encourages. Remember, Roundup Ready.
The plants that can survive the weed killer.
Exactly. So if a farmer can douse an entire field with glyphosate and kill everything except their crop, they might use a lot of it. The concern is you're not just eating the corn, you're eating the chemical residue the corn absorbed.
Ah, that is a huge distinction. It's not the seed, it's the spray.
Precisely. And there are also some concerns about allergenicity. Like what if you splice a peanut gene into a tomato? Could someone with a nut allergy react? The testing is strict, but biology can be unpredictable.
So the takeaway in GMOs isn't panic, it's awareness. If you want to avoid that potential residue, look for the butterfly logo or just go organic.
Organic is your safest bet. By definition, USDA organic can't have GMOs, so it's like a 2-for-1 deal.
Got it. Okay, let's move on. We're past the big ticket items on the ingredient list, and now we're in the texture zone. Segment 2, fillers, or as I like to call them, the illusion of food.
The illusion is a perfect way to put it. Fillers are ingredients that, bulk up a product, improve the texture, or make it last longer on the shelf, all without adding any real nutritional value.
So we're basically paying for volume, not for nutrients.
You're paying for space.
Yeah.
And mouthfeel.
The source highlights a few big ones. Let's talk about maltodextrin. I see that on everything from chips to protein powder. What is it?
Maltodextrin is this highly processed white powder. It's usually made from corn or rice. It's a cheap, tasteless thickener. But here's the kicker. It has a higher glycemic index than table sugar.
Wait, hold on. Higher than actual sugar?
Yes. Table sugar is around 65 on the index. Maltodextrin can spike up to 100 or even more. So you could be eating a savory cracker that doesn't taste sweet, but your blood sugar reacts like you just ate a handful of candy.
That is wild. It's metabolically invisible to your tongue, but a bomb for your insulin.
Exactly. And then there's the texture part. Have you ever heard of vanishing caloric density?
I have not. It sounds like a magic trick.
It kind of is for food scientists. It refers to foods that just melt in your mouth really quickly, like, cheese puffs or some chips. Because they disappear so fast, your brain doesn't get the signal that you're full. It thinks, oh, there's nothing here. Yeah. So you just keep eating. Fillers like maltodextrin are key to creating that texture. They trick you.
That explains so much. That explains the entire bag of cheese puffs disappearing. You've been biologically hacked.
Totally hacked, yeah.
But the filler that really, really stopped me in my tracks in Fabian's guide was cellulose. We have to talk about cellulose.
Yes. The fiber question.
The guide says it's often derived from wood pulp.
That is correct. Sawdust, essentially.
How is that legal? I mean, I'm not a termite.
It's legal because, chemically speaking, cellulose is fiber. Whether it's from a celery stalk or a pine tree, the molecule's pretty much the same. It's non-toxic, it passes right through you, and it lets manufacturers cheaply bump up the fiber number on the label.
So when I buy that high-fiber bread, I might just be eating a tree branch.
You might be eating refined wood pulp. Yes. It's not dangerous per se, but it's deceptive. You're not getting any of the vitamins and minerals you'd get from fiber, from, whole grains or veggies. You're just getting empty structure.
It's like the IKEA furniture of food. Looks solid, but it's mostly particle board.
That is a startlingly accurate analogy.
So how do we spot the fluff? Is there a simple rule?
The easy-peasy rule from the text is a good one. Just look at the length of the ingredient list. If you're buying tortilla chips, it should be corn, oil, salt, maybe lime. If the list is a whole paragraph, you're probably looking at fillers.
Simplicity is key.
And it's the ultimate health hack. Also, watch out for the phrase natural flavors.
Oh, that's my pet peeve. It sounds so good, right? It's natural.
It's a huge legal loophole. Natural flavor just means the original source was something natural, like a plant or an animal. But they can process it in a lab with solvents and other chemicals. It can be up to 100 different chemicals, all hiding under that one term.
So natural flavor is basically a black box on the ingredient list.
It is. It's the great unknown.
Okay, so we've got bioengineered corn, wood pulp, mystery flavors. Now let's get to the really serious stuff. Segment 3, the hidden toxins. These aren't just empty calories. The source suggests these can have actual negative health outcomes.
Right. This is where the risk profile really changes. We're moving from useless to potentially harmful. The source calls them the sneaky devils.
Let's name names. Artificial colors. I feel like we've known about this for years, but they are still in everything.
They are. Red 40, yellow 5, blue 1. These are synthetic dyes, and the most shocking part for a lot of people is that they're derived from petroleum.
We're eating oil byproducts just so our candy looks a little bit redder.
Essentially, yes. And the research is concerning. Studies have linked these dyes to hyperactivity and behavioral issues in kids. The European Union actually requires a warning label on foods that contain them.
Wait, seriously, so in Europe, the same bag of candy has a warning label, but here it doesn't?
Often, yes. Or the company will make a different version for Europe using natural colorings like beet juice while selling the petroleum version elsewhere.
That makes me so angry. It shows they can do it differently, they just choose not to.
It's a cost thing. Synthetic dyes are cheaper.
Okay, what about preservatives? BHA and BHT. They sound like an airport code, but I see them on cereal boxes all the time.
Butylated hydroxyanisole and butylated hydroxytoluene. They stop oils in food from going rancid. The problem is some studies suggest they can be endocrine disruptors or even carcinogenic in high doses.
Carcinogenic. Cancer-causing?
Potentially. The National Toxicology Program has classified BHA as reasonably anticipated to be a human carcinogen.
Reasonably anticipated is not a phrase I want anywhere near my breakfast.
No. And again, there are safe alternatives, like vitamin D, which is often listed as mixed tocopherols. It's a natural preservative.
And finally, the big one, MSG. I feel like we need to be careful here. Is MSG actually toxic, or is it just misunderstood?
It's a bit of both. Monosodium glutamate is very similar to the glutamate found naturally in things like tomatoes or Parmesan cheese. The issue is the concentration. For some people, it acts as an excitotoxin.
An excitotoxin? What does that even mean?
It means it can overstimulate nerve cells. For people who are sensitive, that's what causes the headaches, the sweating, the nausea. It's not a poison for everyone, but for some people, it is a very real trigger. And it often hides under other names, like yeast extract.
Sneaky. So the strategy for avoiding all these is basically read the fine print, and if it sounds like a chemistry experiment, just put it back.
And don't be afraid to be that person. Call the customer service number on the box. Ask them, what's in your natural flavors? If they won't tell you, well, that's your answer.
Silence is a confession.
Indeed.
Okay, we've got the theory down. We know who the enemies are. Now let's make this practical. Let's do a simulation.
I'm in. Let's do it.
We're walking into the supermarket. Fluorescent lights, squeaky cart, the whole deal. We hit the bread aisle first. Scenario 1. I pick up a loaf of wheat bread. The ingredient list is a mile long. What do I do?
First, do the squeeze test. If it feels like a memory foam mattress, it's probably full of dough conditioners, things you don't want.
Like what?
Like azotic carbonamide, which is also used to make yoga mats.
Yoga mats. Delicious.
Then count the ingredients. Real bread is flour, water, yeast, salt. That's it. If you see high fructose corn syrup or soybean oil or a bunch of preservatives, put it back. Look for 100% whole wheat.
Okay, got it. Moving on. Scenario 2. The cereal aisle. The box has a cartoon on it, and it's screaming heart healthy and whole grains.
Ignore the front of the box. It's a billboard. Flip it over. Look at the added sugars line.
What's the cutoff? What are we looking for?
Try to stay under 6 to 8 grams per serving. And just picture it. 4 grams of sugar is 1 teaspoon. So if a serving has 16 grams, you're giving your kid 4 teaspoons of sugar before school.
Oh, that's a great way to visualize it. Okay. Scenario 3. Meat department. This is so confusing. I see grass-fed, but then I also see grass-finished. Is there a difference?
A huge difference. Grass-fed can just mean the cow ate grass at some point. It could have spent the last 6 months on a feedlot eating GMO corn to bulk it up. Grass-finished means it ate grass its whole life. That changes the fat profile of the meat. More omega-3s.
So finished is the key word. What about hormone-free?
Essential, especially for beef and dairy. In the U.S., cattle are often given growth hormones. We don't really know the long-term impact of consuming those. So yeah, look for organic or a specific no added hormones label.
Last up, the produce section. I want to buy healthy, but organic is so expensive. Do I have to buy everything organic?
No, absolutely not. You can be strategic. Just use the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 lists.
Break that down for me.
The Dirty Dozen are the things with thin skins that absorb pesticides like a sponge. Strawberries, spinach, grapes, apples. You really want to get those organic because you can't just wash the chemicals off. They're inside.
And the Clean 15.
Those have thick skins you peel anyway. Avocados, pineapples, onions. The pesticides mostly stay on the part you throw away. So save your money there. Buy conventional avocados, but spend the extra buck on organic strawberries.
That is such practical advice. It makes it feel manageable.
It's not all or nothing. It's just about minimizing the toxic load where it matters most.
We've done it. We've navigated the store, we've dodged the wood pulp and the petroleum dye, and we have a cart full of actual food.
It feels good, doesn't it?
It really does. It feels like taking back control. And I think that's the big theme here. The source material, it can feel a little overwhelming at first. But the message isn't fear.
No, it's empowerment. It's literacy. Once you learn to read the code, once you know that maltodextrin means sugar spike and bioengineered means GMO, the marketing just stops working on you. You're immune.
It's like putting on those glasses in the movie They Live. Suddenly you see the real messages.
Hopefully with fewer alien invasions, but yes. You are reclaiming your health from a system that so often prioritizes shelf life over your life.
I love that. Shelf life over your life.
Mhm.
That is the trade-off, and we have to be the ones to say no.
Exactly. And the food landscape is changing so fast. I mean, we have 3D printed meat on the horizon, precision fermentation. The labels are only going to get more complex. This skill, reading them, it's the most important health tool you can develop for the next decade.
So that's our challenge to you. Next time you pick up a package, don't just toss it in the cart. Take 10 seconds. Be the detective. Spot the fluff. Find the hidden toxins, and vote with your wallet for real food.
Your body will thank you for it.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. Good luck in the aisles. We'll see you next time.